It is 2007, New York City. I am 23 years old. I'm an actress and I'm from Bangladesh. And today, one that is entirely forgettable, except for one thing. Tonight is the night that I will be raped. Of course, I don't know that yet. He and I are on a date. I've known him for years. He's an actor as well. We are at a small French bistro. He's wearing a button-down shirt and jeans. I'm wearing a short sundress and ballet flats. We share stories and laugh. We reminisce about mutual friends. Dinner is lovely. My apartment is around the corner, so I invite him up for tea. We talk some more and we feel the attraction. He kisses me. I kiss him back. It's all delightfully harmless. It's getting late. I walk him through the front door, adjacent to my bedroom. He kisses me again, and I say, "Thank you. It's been a wonderful night. I'll see you soon. Good night." He wants more. He kisses me again harder. He uses his body to angle me into my bedroom and push me up against a wall. My 5'4", 105 pounds starts to feel pitiful to his 5'11", 180 pounds. "You have to go now." I keep my voice light but persuasive. He kisses me again. He tries to push me onto the bed, forcefully, not remotely playfully. I hold my ground. "You have to go." "No," he says, grinning, his teeth glowing in the darkness. "I'm not going anywhere." The air has thickened like blood clotting. Dread curls around the edges of the room like the scent of rain before the sky slits open. He comes towards me, I back away. I breathe through my nose to calm my lungs and pace my heart. My mind sifts through every self-defense lesson memorized in college as a women's studies student. I bolster myself with tactics, ready to use them. Place one hand on either side of his head, poke hard into his eyes with my thumbs, knee him in the groin, bite, kick, scream, urinate. The shock and disgust might unsettle him, letting me run. He grabs me. I steel my body against his, twisting my arms and torso the way I was taught to do with assaulters. He keeps his hold on me. My hands and teeth tingle, waiting to bite, to claw, to obey my orders, but the vile truth, as bitter as bile, he is much too strong. I flay with all my might, flaying like a fish caught on a hook. He keeps his hold on me and the tussle flings us onto the bed. My left cheek is pressed against his shoulder and turned towards the wall. My room is pink. I painted it this way, pink with a daisy yellow trim. Growing up, I'd always wanted a pink room. There's a Benjamin Moore, a block down from my acting agent's office. The day I signed with him, I gave myself a pink room. I'm trying to create something soft for myself within the black and gray bruise that is New York. Life is so surprising. Just as crayons fail to taste like their names, paint on a wall will be much brighter than paint on a can. I envisioned a light blush pink, but ended up with pink, as vivid as flesh, sliced open. Now, I'm inside a mouth. Lining the flesh pink walls are stacks of books, arranged in a way I think is pretty. My bed frame is lovely too, black wrought iron in a delicate pattern of leaves and flowers, much like the tattoo on my ribcage tucked in between my breasts. I chose that area for its sweet privacy, believing no one would ever see it unless invited. I found my bed frame on Craigslist. It didn't come with a box spring, so I balanced it on plywood boards. I haven't stopped fighting. I'm still trying to wiggle out from beneath him. He's pinned my wrists above my head, first with both his hands and then with only one. With the other hand, he's undone his jeans and hiked up my dress. Now he knees apart my legs and enters. As he jams in, I force myself to imagine that what I am feeling is an inanimate instrument, like those found in a gynecologist's office, which, given my age, I've only been to thrice. Now he grunts and grunts, his upper lip, forehead, palms, and torso growing clammy with sweat, musky male yet acutely his own. Cracking like lightning, the wooden boards beneath my mattress break from our combined weight and exertion. The plywood boards scratch my flesh-pink walls. The mattress tilts into the air like a split bone. It juts at an awkward angle, shaking with each thrust. "You're just too beautiful," he says, hissing between groans. Astonishing, the power of the human word. Through a mere handful of sound and suggestion, I feel guilt for being myself and fury for having it used against me. I wish to be anyone but myself, to be anything but attractive. I wish to disappear and remain hidden indefinitely. I wish these things, and I hate him for it. I've looked left, right, and down, and so now I look into him. His sounds, scent, and desire have filled the room full of him, yet he's completely left. His pupils have dilated so deeply his entire eye looks black, dulled of light, dead of any humanity. I'm still repeating, "You have to go, you have to go, you have to go," although I don't know who I'm referring to, him or myself. I'd be happy for either one of us to vanish. Now I switch to saying loudly, "No, no, no," spitting the words like seas that won't take. Oh my God, this is happening. The horrifying certainty hits me in the face like raw steak slamming a chopping board. Perhaps because he too believes this is an assured acquisition. His hold on my wrist slackens. His moment of sloth is all I need. I slip my wrist out from his hands, press the heels of my palms against his shoulders, and push with all my might. "No!" I yell. The sudden volume and physical force are enough to shock him backwards. He comes at the same time he falls. If this weren't rape, if I weren't terrified, if my voice weren't hoarse from being ignored, I'd be embarrassed from him. I scoot back until I'm against the headboard, hugging my knees to my chest. My throat is chapped. I taste blood. I must have bitten my tongue. It'll hurt tomorrow. Silently, swiftly, he puts on his clothes. I say it once more. "Leave." He does. After his sentence, "You're just too beautiful," he hasn't said a word. I sit in the quiet for 15 minutes, and I'm listing my options and weighing the cost of each. I sit in the quiet, dark stillness, and I decide not to call anyone. I decide not to call anyone because although I have plenty of people whom I love, I don't have a single person whom I can trust to help me walk through this darkness. I don't call anyone because I don't know a single person whom I can trust to not say, "Why were you wearing a short dress? Why did you invite him up to your apartment? Why did you kiss him back? Were you drinking? How many drinks did you have?" Maybe if you weren't wearing a short dress, maybe if you hadn't kissed him back, maybe if you hadn't invited him up, maybe you brought this on yourself. You brought this on yourself. You brought this on yourself. I don't call anyone because we live in a world that is more likely to shame and blame a girl than help a girl. I don't call anyone because so often it is the way that people react to pain that hurts more than the pain itself. So it dawns on me that for not the first time in my life, I will have to lead myself through this darkness. I take a shower. Down falls the water, and up rises the sound of my inner voice. She says, I say, "This is my story. He is but one page, one character. I refuse to feel somehow small, dirty, or damaged. This wasn't sex. This was assault. He is neither a man nor all men combined. He is one predator. He is a predator. He is a scab, and Mama taught me not to pick scabs, especially if they are human. Under my makeshift waterfall, I speak these words. They bloom, then distill into one sentence. Only I author my life. I step out of the water. Now, the wrecked bed. I return the wooden slats to their precarious balance, angling them on the thin lip of metal, making sure they don't succumb to gravity. I lift the mattress and I smile, not from the strength in my arms, but from the lack of trembling in my hands. I sleep. Another day arrives, followed by another. The days form into months, months into years. I don't hear from him, but I will run into him. I'll run into him because we are both actors, our world is tiny, and because life has a harsh, wise way of doing what she does. She will give us things as provocation to die quicker or to grow. I will read about him in the Times. I will see him at auditions. One time, I will sit across from him on the subway. "How are you?" I will ask him, looking him in the eye. In response, he will move through every shade of pale and burn. He will sputter and shake. I will refuse to break eye contact. I will wonder, have you become more than your past self? Is that possible? For his sake, for all our sake, I have to believe it is. The idiom, "everything happens for a reason," has never sat well with me. One cannot blurt, "everything happens for a reason" to a person who's just been raped, who's been diagnosed with cancer, or who has lost a loved one. The truth I prefer is, only I assign my experiences their reasons. The reason behind this night wasn't to lose my faith in men, life, or my instincts. The purpose behind this one evening was it proved my resilience. My youth and beauty will fade. People and money will come and go. But my ferocious passion to live is mine evermore. Startling. Realizing this lights something within me. For the first time in my life, I actually like myself. Life is masterful at being fearsome, but I am learning that everything I need, I hold within. I am learning that you and I, we can lead ourselves through any darkness. Another day arrives, followed by another. The days form into months, months into years. 10 years go by to deliver me here, to stand in front of you. Tonight is a masterclass on truth. I'm not here to tell you life is beautiful. I'm here to give you the precise tools you need to make your life beautiful. Chances are you or somebody you love has a story similar to the one I've just shared. If you would like, you can raise your hand in solidarity. Thank you. Thank you. Wow, thank you. Look at us, a room full of strong women who have been through wars and who have walked out bravely. That night 10 years ago was not my first brush with pain. The first time my world was violated, I was 11 years old. See, both my parents are from Bangladesh, and I was born there and raised in Thailand. And during the summers, we would visit my grandparents in Bangladesh. During one such visit, a cousin from my father's side of the family, a cousin who was 20 years older than me, tried to molest me. And thankfully, something about my survival instinct kicked in, and I felt him approaching like an incoming storm, and I was able to escape. And then I went to my father to tell him what had happened, and to tell him that this same cousin had successfully molested numerous other cousins, all of these girls who had shared their stories with me. And I told my father, expecting and hoping that he would do something. And his response was, boys will be boys. It happens, especially between cousins. Don't be naive. Ultimately, I'm very grateful for that experience, because in that moment I learned two things. One, I learned the reason why. I learned why rape, molestation, abuse, assault, or violence against women of any kind exists and continues to in this world. Because those who are in charge allow them to. I learned that no matter what pain is inflicted upon me, it has nothing to do with me, and everything to do with a world that enables its boys while belittling and bruising and beating its girls. And the other thing that happened was I made a promise. I vowed that if the people around me weren't going to rise up and speak, then I would one day grow up to be a voice for those who have been silenced. It was as if any last shred of innocence left the building and my life purpose moved in. If a moment ago you didn't raise your hand, although perhaps you had reason to, I want you to know that your silence is not a weakness. Silence is a byproduct of the societies that raise us. Regardless of culture or ethnicity or geography, we have all been raised in societies that continually gaslight us women. Societies that tell us, oh, we women, we weaker sex, you are fragile and dramatic and hypersensitive. How often have you heard, you're so crazy, or women are all just crazy? That is one message, that is part of a larger belittling spin cycle of noise that continually tell us that we are the hypersensitive, irrational, crazy gender, that we are creatures made for beauty, but not for intelligence or logic. And therefore, we should second guess everything we know to be right and true, that we should bat things aside because boys will be boys, and we need to accept that. Of course, so many women are terrified to voice their truth because we live in a world where there is so little encouragement and space for us to speak. The night I was raped, I came face to face with a great deal. I learned that nothing aside from death will kill me. And I learned that I do not need to fear any kind of adversity. Which is interesting because in addition to being told that we are the hypersensitive, irrational, crazy gender, we are also told that we are the weaker sex, that we were born to break, we were born to be victims, that we should therefore distrust our own power and become dependent on others. It is taught to us that we, helpless, fragile damsels, in times of distress, we need to seek outside leadership. We need to outsource for strength, guidance, or support by calling our dad, or a husband, or a boyfriend, or a brother, or a mentor, because certainly you and I, we women, we are utterly incapable of being our own voice of grit and reason. It is assumed that if you've gone through any kind of adversity, then this is a death sentence. It is assumed that if you've gone through a traumatic childhood, or sexual assault, or miscarriages, or eating disorders, or abusive relationships, divorce, rejection, or betrayal, that you will end up irrevocably damaged, that you will be insecure, lonely, and lost. You'll be cursed with a terrible life and become an embarrassment to society. Not necessarily. I have been through every one of those things, and I don't consider myself an embarrassment. The common misconception is that we humans are the result of our genes or the result of our external circumstances. The truth is, we are the result of our mindset. Those belittling messages that continually tell us we are the weaker sex, that we were born to break, that we were born to be victims, and therefore should be dependent on others, those messages were designed to keep us small, afraid, needy, neurotic, and therefore controllable. Those messages were designed and are spread by those who do not wish to see us rise. This is the truth. The truth will set you free. The truth can ignite your inner power. Life is lifelike, especially for us women. From the time we are young girls, we are exposed to a continual, lifelong series of challenges, scrutiny, criticism, harassment, and even violence at home, at school, on the streets, in the workplace. And with each one of these heartbreaks, it can feel like you've lost a piece of yourself, like a part of you has been stolen from you, like you've been flung off your path and into a deep, dark hole you cannot climb out of. But you can climb and you can rise, because the truth is, the things that really matter, no one can ever steal. The things that really matter, intelligence, dignity, resourcefulness, maturity, wisdom, compassion, empathy, self-ownership, these are the things no one can ever steal. In fact, every challenge will test, but then can strengthen and amplify these very qualities that are the best qualities available in the human experience. Therefore, in a very true sense, every adversity can be a gift, a chance for you to rise with the best qualities available. Your mindset that you adopt in life will determine how you shape your personality, your identity, your trajectory, and your legacy. You get to decide whether you will live as a victim, a survivor, or a warrior. As women, because of the enormous volume of hardships we face, it can grow very tempting to feel worthless. It can become very tempting to feel powerless, insecure, afraid. It can even grow tempting to start hating being female. But I believe that the opposite is possible. I believe we can draw power from all of it. I believe we can draw power from our unique female experience of continual hardships. Because remember, if every adversity can be a gift, a chance for us to practice strength and to rise with strength, and if we as women are given an unusual volume of adversities, what it means is that we are given that many more opportunities to practice and hone strength and rise with resilience. How phenomenal is that? If you look at life this way, then you'll realize life isn't happening to you. It is happening for you. When you look at life this way, you realize that which is the female experience, that which is the human experience, is precisely that which makes us powerful. The night I was raped, all of this started to fall into place. I realized that my inner voice is very smart and that she can provide me with any strength I need. I realized that resilience is the one self-defense strategy that allows me to walk through any fire and heal any burn or any trauma. And I realized I already had tons of resilience because I had spent 2 decades living as a girl in this world. And I realized that once and for all, you and I, we are not fragile or helpless. I learned that you and I, our ability to know what is right and true, our ability for logic, independence, and intelligence, our ability to rise is profound. I learned you and I, we warriors, we can lead ourselves through any darkness. Ultimately, everything in life comes back to our relationship with ourselves. The way a person behaves out in the world is a direct reflection of what they have been through, how they've chosen to respond, and how they feel about themselves. Self-love is a concept that is thrown around very casually and is often clouded with a great deal of mystery and confusion. Let's demystify it. Self-love isn't something you gain by buying yourself pretty things. Self-love is the authentic awareness and appreciation of who it is you uniquely are. Self-love is gained by living as somebody you can be proud of. This is where adversities can be our gifts. Use every one of your challenges as an opportunity to practice and hone the qualities that will help you move towards your best self. The qualities of intelligence, composure, wisdom, maturity, grace, resilience, courage. Therefore, as you move through one challenge after another with grace and maturity, you will begin to truly know, trust, and fall in love with yourself. You will gain a true appreciation and awareness of who it is you uniquely are. Another concept that is thrown around so casually is be your own best friend. What does that mean? What it means is that in the deep, inky, quiet stillness of night, when you are alone, naked, and afraid, you are able to be your own voice of comfort, kindness, wisdom, and compassion. You are able to be your own ideal friend. The gorgeous thing about using your adversities to your advantage is that as you become a stronger and better version of yourself, you will become a stronger and better version of a sister, a daughter, friend, colleague, partner. You will become the kind of person that others trust deeply. You will become the kind of person that others look to in their time of need, when they need strength, kindness, advice, wisdom, support. You will become essentially a leader within your inner circle. And my favorite thing about using adversities to our benefit is that we can start turning our pain into poetry, our pain into power, and we can start using this to become leaders out in the larger world. Female leaders? What? Impossible. The disbelievers claim that you and I, we women, we are ill-suited, disadvantaged, and ill-prepared for leadership. Yet, haven't we just established that to grow up as a girl in this world, to live as a woman in this world, is to live uniquely immersed and educated in adversity, and therefore resilience, and therefore leadership? Due to the enormous volume of challenge for young girls at home, at school, on the streets, in the workplace, we are given opportunity after opportunity to practice problem solving, composure, awareness, perspective, conflict negotiation, conflict management, conflict resolution, compromise, diplomacy, dignity, ethics, justice, poise, compassion. All the ideal qualities of the ideal leader. What does a true leader do? A true leader fights for what is right. And to live as a woman in this world is continually this, a precise, continual fight for what is right. We are never handed anything. In fact, we have to fight for the things we rightfully earned or deserve. The income, protection, justice, and respect we deserve or have earned. Furthermore, we have to be continually alert. Every day, we are bombarded with opinions, scrutiny, criticism, harassment, stereotypes, assumptions, all information that we have to rapidly synthesize and navigate wisely, simply to move through our day, walk down the street, get through a date or a family dinner or a meeting or a class. We are never afforded the luxury of innocence, the luxury of peace, the luxury of privacy. We are never afforded the luxury, ease, complacency, or privilege due to gender. No. Life continually calls upon us to use our voices as torches for justice, to fight for our choices, our value, our opportunities, our boundaries. And because of our lifelong education in adversity and perspective and awareness, our muscle for empathy is enormous. This means we are the first ones to speak out when we see other groups being hurt. As leaders, we women are not ill-suited. We are the obvious choice. As leaders, we women are perfectly suited, executing daily, and we are skilled and prepared for more. I have snuck into your life to tell you that your wounds are not reasons to be silent. No, they are reasons to speak, to rise, to embrace, to lead. I have snuck into your life to tell you that which makes you female is precisely that which makes you powerful. As you move through your life, you will begin to trace patterns. Those patterns will coalesce into truths. You will begin to see that every challenge you encounter is a rung on the ladder you will use to climb towards your highest self. Right now, many of you are preparing to graduate and move out into the larger world. Chances are you're feeling a mixture of reticence and excitement, wondering if you have the right tools to succeed. As for the rest of you who are not yet graduating, chances are you're feeling the identical mix of fear and excitement, wondering if you have the right tools to succeed simply towards something else going on in your life. Because regardless of age or circumstance, we humans, we are always in transition between environments, between states of awareness, between versions of ourselves. We are constantly oscillating between certainty and uncertainty, fear and excitement, tiptoeing the edge of something new while we outgrow the past. While I cannot tell you what to feel, I can urge you not to feel afraid. Uncertainty is a form of limitlessness. So much is possible when so little appears set in stone. I truly believe that everything we need, we hold within. Every day, you and I are making countless decisions. I challenge you to look at every decision-making opportunity as an opportunity to own and exercise your voice, your ideas, your intelligence, your truth. The next time you have to make a decision, Instead of freaking out and texting 8 of your girlfriends and your older sister and your parents about what to wear tonight, what to text your crush, what classes to choose, what job to pursue, try calling on your inner voice to lead you. Of course, there are plenty of times in our lives when it is healthy to seek outside guidance. But because of the cultural conditioning we have been put through that continually tells us to second guess our intelligence and what we know to be right and true, be careful about continually surrendering your power over to other people. The greatest human right is the power to choose your own choices, to design the person you wish to be and the life you wish to lead. If you were in the middle of a forest and there was no one else around and you had to make a decision, would you still call out for help? Or could you look within? The next time you have to make a decision, I challenge you to sit inside the initial discomfort of being your own leader and allow your inner voice to lead you through the darkness. It is by doing this, decision after decision, moment after moment, that you slowly design the person you wish to be and the destiny you wish to have, rather than allowing others to decide it for you. If your reaction to this is, but I'm not wise or brave or mature or confident enough, well, how do you expect to become wise or brave or confident or mature if you never exercise those muscles? There's an irony to all this. Think of all the times you have felt insulted, betrayed, misled, overwhelmed, overpowered, or suffocated in a relationship, in a conversation, in a meeting. Chances are, part of your pain and frustration came from feeling like your voice was being ignored, like your opinion didn't matter, like somebody had taken hold of your life and started to control it for you. Because, regardless of age or gender, we all have a universal need to feel we have some semblance of authority and ownership over who it is we are and where it is we're going. And we all have a universal need to feel heard, seen, appreciated, and understood. Therefore, my darling women, if you are continually surrendering your power, your authority and ownership over to other people, only to feel the inevitable pain and frustration, perhaps it's time you accept responsibility in this cycle. Break the cycle by owning your power. Authority, ownership, authorship. Only you author your life. It is so crucial that you claim this truth, especially as women, and especially given what we're experiencing as a global family right now in our present political climate. It would be a gross understatement to say that what we are experiencing is a great deal. I think regardless of what side or demographic you identify with, I think we can all agree that what we are experiencing is a test in behavior. We are being tested in how we will behave in ourselves and towards each other during times of crisis and discord. Remember, the way a person behaves out in the world is a direct reflection of what they have been through, how they've chosen to respond, and how they feel about themselves. What this means is that there is always an opportunity for pause and perspective and conversation, and maybe even understanding with those who disagree with us, those who don't see eye to eye, perhaps those who've tried to hurt us. No one is born a racist, a misogynist, a bigot, or a rapist. What this means is that there's always an opportunity for conversation and maybe even forgiveness for those who tell us boys will be boys and we need to accept that, and those who tell us go back to where you came from. Right now, there are many people feeling fury towards the rampant injustices we see all around us. Right now, there are many people feeling terrified because they are part of a race, religion, sexual orientation, or gender that is being egregiously attacked. We have every right and reason to feel these emotions, but in the name of a better, brighter, unified future, it is imperative that we pour these emotions into focused, committed, mature, accountable, loving action to protect and serve each other, especially the voiceless. As with any adversity, let us engage with our present political climate like it's an invitation to rise with the best human qualities, to rise with resilience, maturity, compassion, intelligence, and grace. You and I, we have so many privileges. We have the privilege of good education, good health, food, clothing, shelter, and clean water. We have the privilege of being part of a large, loving family. Look around you. Each one of you is a gift and a resource. Above all, we have the privilege of having a voice. In this world, we are all responsible for each other's well-being. If those of us with certain power and privileges decide not to use that power and privileges to protect and serve each other, then when those without power and privileges are hurt, we are responsible for their pain. Complacency is one way that we wound others. If you are feeling overwhelmed or confused or helpless or lost about what it is you can do, whether about the world or just with your life path, follow a simple formula. At any given time, take stock of the world you see around you. Take stock of the injustices, the holes, the weak spots, and the flaws that you see around there. Take stock of your unique qualities and skills. Take stock of your life experiences, and take stock of your unique resources and privileges. Then ask yourself the question, how can I serve? Answer this question by creating or combining a skill set that allows you to take action on this entire larger picture. It is by following this formula that we figure out our calling in life. It is by following this formula that we figure out how you and I can use our unique talents and skills and life experiences to help others heal, rise, expand, grow in life. I'm so excited for the unique story that only you can author. I'm excited for how you will figure out how to help others rise in life, and how you will figure out how to help yourself rise in life. Remember, the way a person behaves out in the world is a direct reflection of what they have been through, how they've chosen to respond, and how they feel about themselves. What this means is that brokenness that is left unhealed will create further brokenness out in the larger world. And what this means is that two of the most valuable, necessary things you can do is figure out how you will help yourself and others heal and rise. How you will help yourself and others rise towards your greatest potential. When you help yourself or somebody else heal and rise, you are effectively helping to reduce the degree of pain, suffering, restlessness, and wasted potential in this world. In a very true sense, when you help yourself or somebody else heal and rise, you are helping to write the future. RIGHTWRITE. Write the future. Really consider those words. Allow them to play upon your brain. Allow them to slip into your heart like a pillar of light slips in through a window. Right now, we are at a turning point in our history. I believe it is very clear that as women, we will play a large role in writing the future we wish to see. The world has proven to us that it will not give us the respect, encouragement, income, opportunities, protection, or justice, or progress we deserve simply because we deserve them. The world will give us only what we command. So how do we do this? How do we command the necessary attention, visibility, and authority needed to achieve the goals we wish to achieve in our personal lives and out in the world? How do we command the respect and attention and authority to get out of the abusive relationship or go into the job we really wish to have? Well, we command authority by gaining authority over our minds, gaining authority over our presence, and gaining authority over our voices. We renounce the antiquated definition that women are demure, shy, insecure, that we need to defer to men when making decisions. We renounce any message that tells you you are small. Renounce the belief that you are small just because you happen to be petite in stature in comparison to others in the room. Start noticing your posture. Start noticing the energy you bring into any room, the energy you bring into any relationship or conversation. Start noticing the tone, pitch, inflection, and texture of your voice. Studies have shown that voices that are deep, rich, and warm like hot chocolate command more authority than voices that are short, sharp, and sour like a shot of tequila. And I will be the first one to admit that there was definitely a point in my life when I would talk like this, but the real guilty confession is that I would only talk like this in front of guys that I liked. And then I would wonder why my life wasn't going the way I wanted. We can train ourselves to become precisely the people we need to be to achieve the goals we wish to achieve. Start noticing the words you use to represent yourself. Start noticing the likes and ums and hesitation and self-deprecation and the question marks you slip into your sentences. There seems to be an epidemic of apologizing when we don't need to apologize. There's so many women who say, "I'm sorry," or end their sentences in question marks, although it's a declarative statement. What are you apologizing for? Stop apologizing for the very air you breathe. Stop apologizing for the space you take up in the world. Start owning more space so that even if you are 5'4" and 105 pounds and a brown female immigrant, you become the largest person in a room. Your voice is your greatest muscle. Use every conversation, every interaction, every argument to raise the caliber of your voice. Use every conversation, every adversity to become more articulate, incisive, confident, mature, intelligent, and fearless with your words, so that when you see or feel injustice, you can speak with unflinching poise and clarity for what you know to be right and true, to successfully empower yourself and others. Imagine if we all did this one thing, if we all trained to raise the caliber of our roar. Imagine our collective impact if we all rose and spoke with unflinching poise and clarity for our rights, our needs, our value. If we all rose and spoke for the love and respect we deserve in our bedrooms, our bodies, our workplace, our families, our relationships. Imagine if we all became our own leader and modeled leadership out in the world as citizens and as future parents. We could radically transform our planet through our generation alone. Revelations spark revolutions. Sometimes all it takes is one person. Sometimes all it takes is one group of clear, committed, brave voices. 10 years ago, I decided not to press charges against my rapist. See, I am not an American citizen. I'm from Bangladesh. I was born there, raised in Thailand, and I moved to the United States when I was 18 for college. Today, I have a green card. I am an immigrant. I am, according to some, a leech depleting the American economy. I am, according to some, a threat to what makes America great. I am not a threat. I, like you, am a crucial thread in why we are great. 10 years ago, when I was raped, I did not have my green card yet. I was on my OPT visa, that one-year visa you're given after you graduate from college. I was living by myself in New York City. My family was still in Asia, and I was working at a restaurant for money. I was so poor that I would have to ration my food. I would buy those $1.99 bags of baby carrots, and I would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carrots per meal, and this way I could make a bag last for 3 days. When I was raped, I could barely afford food, so how was I supposed to afford a lawyer? Besides, even if I was assigned one pro bono, I didn't want a rape case to potentially harm my chances at a future visa or green card. Because although the fine print claims that survivors of rape deserve justice and dignity, and shall not be penalized for the crimes inflicted upon them, we all know that so often the fine print fails to inform reality. Especially if you're an immigrant, especially if you're brown, and from a Muslim country like Bangladesh. And there was no way I was going to harm my chances for living here. Because remember that 11-year-old girl in Bangladesh, a country that so vehemently silences its women? That little girl who made that promise to herself that she would grow up to one day be a voice for those without one? I told myself that I would move halfway across the planet to live in the United States, because here, in a nation that promises free speech and justice, I can speak my truth and hopefully help others do the same. So, 10 years ago, broke, alone, and raped, I realized the stunning irony that I had to be quiet at 23 if I wanted to one day speak in the future. I told myself that I would not press charges and that I would instead hold on. I would figure out how to turn pain into poetry. And I would create a body of words one day that I would refuse to allow my experiences to use me, and I would use them to create a body of words one day that could inspire and empower others to rise into their bravest, boldest, brightest self. I dreamt of being in rooms full of women and men talking about how within each of us we hold such beauty, such strength, such power, such possibility. You have always been my dream. You came true. It all came true as it needed to. Because ultimately, regardless of what the external world provides or chooses not to, everything we need, we hold within. You are more remarkable than you may realize. I feel it in you. I believe it. The many ways you will stretch and grow and discover and impact. The greatest harm you can do is to dream too small or to settle for scraps because of pain you've carried in from your past or the pain you feel in your present or towards the future. Trust in the abundance you deserve and the abundance you are capable of. We women, so many of us, we were raised around the belief that in order to be accurately female, our highest priorities need to be the pursuit and securement of the ideal man and the pursuit and maintenance of ideal physical beauty. Similarly, for men, they have been raised with the belief that their value and attractiveness in this world are based largely on their job and their bank account. Now all these qualities and these preoccupations and pastimes have their place, but they will not tell our full story. Your value does not live in a mirror. Your truth cannot be determined by someone else's presence or opinion or by the number in your pocket. What matters is what you have done to earn what you have and what you will do with that. What matters is the journey you have taken and the journey you will take and the person you will become as you pursue your horizon. Your truest skills and your truest beauty are your abundance within. Your intelligence, your maturity, your wisdom, self-ownership, self-respect, self-awareness, compassion, empathy, grace, generosity, and resilience of spirit. These are the things no one can ever steal. These are the things that truly matter. Use everything life throws at you to continually fill into these golden truths, to continually raise the caliber of your mind, the caliber of your presence, the caliber of your voice, the caliber of your roar, so that when you see or feel injustice, you can speak for those who need your love, respect, and protection, beginning with yourself. Turn your pain into poetry. Out in the sunlit world, or in the deep, inky, quiet stillness of night, live as somebody you can be proud of. Connect your acts of courage into constellations that set the sky on fire. You are this rise. You are the voice you seek. Only you author your life. You write the future.